I've been trading for 16 years, and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you this is the one scalping strategy that I'll be trading for the rest of my life. For the past month, I've live traded this strategy on stream in front of thousands of traders each day, winning 21 and losing 4 trades for an 84% win rate, trading 2 to 3 hours per day live on stream, and every one of those trades was discussed on stream. You can go back and verify it for yourself. There's no embellishment here at all. As for the community, I've been getting a ton of DMs from traders having success using ideas from my scalping strategy to help them pass their funded challenges and grow their trading accounts. Now, that doesn't mean this will work for you. I am not guaranteeing or promising anything. Trading is difficult and most traders lose money. All I can hope is that from this video, you can pick up one thing that you can add to your trading plan that makes your life a little bit easier as I go through every single trade. So let me show you how to start using my scalping strategy with 3 simple steps. Just smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's pop up the charts. This scalping strategy all starts with one candle. It's the 15-minute candle at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. It's the New York Stock Exchange Open. So come into TradingView and let's set up our orb, our open range breakout. On the bottom right here, just click where it says UTC -4 New York. At the top left, click M15, the M15 time frame. Then you will see, if you need to figure out when that time is, just come to Google, say 9:30 a.m. Eastern to, let's say, India. That's going to give us the India time. Let's change that to California. That's going to give you the California time. But as long as you have UTC -4 right here, you're going to have the right time, which is 9:30. So then the candle starts on the 15-minute time frame. We watch the candle go up, we watch the candle go down, and at the end of that 15 minutes, our range is set for the trading day, and this is what we're going to be using all day. Step 1 is complete. We looked at that 15-minute candle. Step 2, we're going to mark up the open range. So just draw a line from the top wick across like this. Draw a line from the bottom wick across right here, and that gives us the range low and the range high. Now it's step 3. We're just coming to the M5 time frame and we're waiting for a break and close above or below the range. So I'm setting M5 time frame at the top left. You can see we already have a couple of candles here. We are simply waiting for one of these candles to come below or come above and close. That's going to give us our direction. So let's go ahead and watch that play out as we can see the candles pushing, and you can see right there we get the candle close. You can see this candle right here just closed above the range high, telling us we want to buy today. Now let's move into phase 2. Next thing I'm doing here is I'm looking at my levels. So for step 1, I'm setting up my support, my resistance. I'm generally doing this on the M5, although a lot of traders in my community also look at the M15 and the H1. You can do whatever you like. So we're looking at the same chart here. Let's scroll back, scroll out, take a look at this chart and see what we are looking at right here. So first, you can see I have a strong level of support right here, and then a strong level of resistance up here. This is now my macro trading range. This is resistance at the top because price is pushing down off that level. Price is pushing down off that level. And this is my support at the bottom here because price is pushing up off of this level. So that's it. Step 1 is done. I set up my support and resistance. Now it's time for step 2. It's time to analyze the range distance, and we can use the Fibonacci for that. So it's pretty clear if price is at the top right here, we want to be selling. If price is at the bottom right here, we want to be buying. Most people don't realize, but the price actually trades within a range 70 to 80% of the time and trends very little. So if we take the Fibonacci and we just measure it from one zone to the other zone right here, you can see that any price below 50% here is a discount, which is just a roundabout way of telling you that you want to be buying here. If we're looking to get into a trade from this area right here, the distance to the top of the range and the distance to the bottom of the range help me determine whether I should buy or sell. If I'm looking to get into a trade and it's in the middle of the range here, often I won't even take the trading position. But if I have my orb at the top, I'm going to be looking to sell. If I have my orb at the bottom, like it is right here, I'm going to be looking to buy. Very simple. I guess I covered step 3 already, which is just making sure that you're buying from support and you're selling from resistance. You want to sell from your resistance and you want to buy from your support. Phase 3, we're looking at trend lines. Step 1, we just want to draw any trend lines. Now, if your trend line is bad or you don't have a trend line, that's absolutely fine. On this trade that I did on live stream, the trend line was kind of crappy, so I wouldn't rely on it completely, but you can see I got touches in here, touches with a little bit of a break here, touches here, touches here. So I would say this is still a valid trend line, and all this is doing is helping us determine that trend direction. So we set up the trend line, then step 2, we're just waiting for price to break the trend line. So you can see we have our trend line right here. This candle right there breaks through and closes on the other side of the trend line, just giving us another confluence that we want to buy. And for step 3, there is potential to use the trend line retest as an entry. So in this case, maybe you would wait for price to come all the way back down to this trend line. In this case, it really isn't there, but let's say the trend line was something like this, then maybe you would wait for a pullback to enter a trade on the trend line right there. I will show you tons of examples in the stream where I use trend line entries and many other entries. So let's get into phase 4. All right, so now we're on to phase 4 entries, and there's only one more phase after this. This is important stuff. Step 1, we have to pick the right discretionary entry. Now, to keep you on track, I'm going to do something I do on stream right now. I'm going to show you the entire model really quickly, okay? At 9:30 a.m., you can see we have this candle. It pushes up, it pushes down, and then it closes, right? Here we have the candle high, the candle low. That creates our range top, our range bottom. We do that on the M15 time frame. Then we come to the M5 time frame. You can see we're just monitoring these candles on the M5 time frame. We're waiting for a candle to break and close above or below that range, okay? If it closes above like it did right here, we're looking to buy, ideally with the overall trend direction, but that's not incredibly important. Then we're coming to where we are right now, our discretionary entry. We had the candle close, right? We could enter right there at the closed candle. We could enter at the retest of the top of the range. Maybe there's a fair value gap we could enter on, a range midline. Maybe there's a demand zone, a support level you could enter at the bottom. Maybe there's an EMA you enter. Maybe there's a trend line you wait to get retested and you enter. Those are all of our options, but you got to pick the right one. So here we are back on that chart. Candle closed above right here. We're trading from our support level. We're definitely looking for buys. We broke through our trend line already. Where are we entering a trade? Well, I always look for a pullback, right? So I want to have a pullback somewhere into my zone. Maybe it's the bottom, maybe it's the middle of the zone, but we need to have a reason. On this trade, I used a fair value gap entry. You can see right here, there is a fair value gap. That is a 3 candle pattern. You can see this candle right here stops right here. This candle right here stops right here, leaving this whole area right here as unmitigated price, which acts as a magnet to suck the price down and then react off of. Now, obviously, I'm going to show you a ton of trade examples from my streams later in the video to show you every single entry possible. All right, so now we did step 1. We have our entry on the fair value gap. Step 2 is checking your broker spread. What I want you to do is come into your MetaTrader account or whatever platform you trade in. In MetaTrader, just right click here and make sure that that spread right there is ticked. The general rule I use when I'm trading my strategy is I want the number in this column right here to be below 10. If it's above 10, it's above 1 pip, and I'm gonna get bad conditions. What that means is if I'm entering the trade right here, and let's say down here is 5 pip stop loss, they're actually going to get me into the trade right here because of that spread. So make sure you're trading tight spreads only. So on our pair right here, GBP USD, our spread right now is just 4 points. That's below a pip, so that's good. And if you want to have good spreads, you need to have a good broker. The broker that I use is Fintura. The link to that broker is in the video description. The spreads are low, the commissions are low. It's just a great broker on MetaTrader. So if you're looking for a place to trade, join Fintura today. Now let's get into the last step right here, which is setting the limit order. So in TradingView right here, you could see I have my limit order at this level right here. If you follow that across over here, that level is 135302. So I would come into MetaTrader, I would click new order, I would set my symbol to the symbol I want to trade, which is Great Britain pound US dollar. I'd set my volume to 0.01 for a small trade, and I would come to pending order to set my buy limit order, and it was 1.35302. And then I would simply click place. Then my limit order is set, and I'm just waiting for the price to come back down, pull back, and tap that level and enter my trading position. I always want to wait for that pullback because I always want to get a discounted price when I'm scalping, waiting for that price exhaustion, right? If we look at this right here, the price is exhausted. The price has been coming down for so long, it's exhausted. There's not enough sellers to keep pushing that price down, so it's perfect for us to get in here for a buy trade. We're in our final phase here. Phase 5, we are managing a trade. Step 1, we want to set the take profit 1 and the stop loss. So let's start with our stop loss. As the price comes down here, it knocks us out of the trade. How far do we want to put this stop loss? We can put it below the wick over here. You can see this wick, we can put it below that. We could put it below the trend line as protection, or you could put it below the level of support. On this trade, I had it around here below the wick. That's what interested me most, to give me a higher risk reward ratio. But on stream, I'll frequently start with it down here and then adjust it as the trade is active. That's all part of trade management. Then we have to set our take profit 1. It's not all the way up here. My take profit 1 is generally somewhere around the top of the range. The reason for that is because price will frequently trade within this range throughout the day before we finally get that breakout. So as I play this out right here, you can see I can quickly solidify my take profit 1, and then I'm on to step 2, taking that partial profit and setting break even. So we hit our take profit 1, then I pull the stop loss up to break even. So now it's a risk-free trade and we have our partial profit. Now come quickly with me here into MetaTrader 4. I'm going to show you how to take a TP1, a partial profit. Just come down to your open order, right click on that, click modify or delete order. We're going to change the type to market execution. We're going to change the volume to half, right? I opened a 0.02. I'm going to change this to 0.01, and then I'm going to close half of that position. Now half of the position is open, and you can see here I just took a profit of 3 cents at my hypothetical take profit 1. Now the third step is only figuring out where to set our take profit 2, right? We still have half of this position open. Where do we want to go? Do we want to take this thing all the way up to resistance? That's an option, but on this trade, I targeted a fair value gap. Let's take a look at this candle right here. Huge fair value gap right there. So I decided to target within that fair value gap just like that, and you could see live on stream this trade shot all the way up, eventually smashing my take profit 2 after smashing my take profit 1, and that's my complete scalping strategy process. Now, in order for you to really understand the discretionary aspects of this, you have to watch my live streams, and now I'm going to show you a bunch of trades from those live streams to really drill this down and hopefully get you where you're trying to go. It's time to go through some of the live trade examples. I already showed you this win right here. Now let's go back to the first trade I ever took on stream right here. It was this Euro US dollar short. So before I get into this trade, I want to bring your attention over to my market watch. You can see I trade this strategy on gold, NASDAQ, US 30, and then all of these Forex pairs right here. Pretty much anything with a low spread, I'm gonna trade it. I just want the best trading opportunities. So let's go through our steps right here. You can see we're on the 5-minute time frame. We've got a pretty clear level of resistance at the top. We've got our support level at the bottom right here. That's pretty clear as well. Maybe had a bit of liquidity taken right there. Next thing I want you to do is come up to indicators right here. Just type opening range. You can install this indicator right here. And that's this indicator at the top right there. If I click on settings, these are the settings that I use. Very simple. You want that time period at 15 minutes. You want UTC -4. You want 9:30 to 9:45. This is just going to draw that orb for you, so you don't have to mark up the top and mark up the bottom yourself. So we're on the 5-minute time frame. And what are we waiting for? We're waiting for price to come and break out of our zone. That's exactly what we get. We get the break and the close beneath our range low. That tells us we want to sell. We also have price at our resistance right here, telling us that we want to sell. And we're high, right? And the distance between there and here is quite low. So that's telling us this is a good sell opportunity. Then we have to figure out our entry. For this entry, I used a level of supply. This was a supply zone that I drew on the 15-minute time frame. So as you know, I'm always waiting for pullbacks. I want price to pull back to my level of supply. That also happened to coincide with our range midline, which is another place that I like to enter a trade. So that's exactly what I did. I waited for price to come back, and then it tapped in, and then it hit my first take profit on the first 5-minute candle. So this candle shot down, it hit my take profit. It hit my first take profit around here. I did that partial exit, and then I dragged my second take profit to fill this fair value gap we had right there. At this point, my stops were set to break even, and then the rest of the trade played out, smashing my take profit right at the bottom right here. Live on stream, it was a fantastic trade. This trade could have gotten better. If you take a look at this one right here, it came all the way down right here. The good thing is, if you're watching a lot of my trades, you'll notice that I'm almost always getting the direction right, which makes me feel really confident about the scalping trading strategy. Now let's jump into another trade. All right, so I've shown you 2 wins. Now let me show you a loss so you understand what not to do. Let me explain what I was looking at on this trade right here. You could see we had the top of our range right here, the bottom of the range. Price broke out of the top of the range right here, and then I waited for a pullback to enter at this level of demand, which looked really, really good. But no trading or scalping strategy is perfect. You are going to learn, you are going to lose trades. That's just a part of trading. Now, I made a pretty obvious mistake here. Look, price was exhausted. Price was moving up for so long, and I didn't draw my trend line. If I drew my trend line right here, look at this trend line. We're getting multiple touches of that trend line, making it valid. We then broke through the trend line and then retested the trend line and then shot down. If I drew that trend line, I could have avoided this loss. And I also entered on a big red candle, which you'll notice if you watch my streams, I barely do now. If we have huge candles like this coming down, I don't really like to enter. I want to see some sort of positive momentum on the 5-minute time frame, a couple of green candles here before I enter the trade. Now, that's not always the case, but that's something I am adding. Let's get into some more wins. So after that loss, I came back the next day with 2 straight awesome wins. Let me show you one of those. All right, so this was a Euro US dollar buy trade. You can see we have our range high right here, our range low right here, that 930. We had the candle close above. We're looking for buys. And then I'm looking at my support and resistance. You can see we have some resistance at the top right here. Let's scroll out a little bit. You can see that is a pretty good resistance level right there. Had a bit of a minor resistance level right here as well that we could look after. And then in terms of support, if we scroll all the way over here, you can see I had these wicks on this level right here, and they happen to coincide with this level right there. So this is pretty much what I was looking at on this chart. You can see we're at that level of support, which is where we want to be buying from. And then what did I do last trade? I forgot to use the trend line. So on this one, I wasn't going to make the same mistake. I looked at my trade from the day before. That's what I knew that I missed. And this was the trend line that I drew, just like that. You can see we came out the top a little bit, but this was respected as far as I'm concerned. We had so many touches on that trend line, and then we had that explosive breakout that broke out of the trend line, and it also broke out of our orb right there, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want to see. So what I did is I set my limit order right here. Why? Well, there's a few reasons. We had a level of minor support right there. Why? can see this level was used as support right here, respected as resistance right here. So that was a decent level for us to enter. But we also had the trend line. So we're stacking the confluences. We're entering at the trend line, at the minor support. That's where I put my limit order right there. And then if you play this sucker out, you could see I tapped in. It was a sniper entry. Price pushed up and I smashed my take profit. Now, why did I target this level right there? I targeted that level because I had the EMA on the chart. Let's go ahead and take a look at my EMA settings. Just click on this right here. EMA length 200, source close, no smoothing, length 14.2. You can do this yourself. And this is something I will often use to exit trades at. That's why I had my take profit there. As for my stop loss, I had it right below the range low right there. And as for my first take profit, I believe I took my first take profit somewhere around here, took that partial, and then we continued on to get the take profit too. All right, don't go anywhere. I've got more trades to show you. You have to watch them all. I promise it's worth it. All right, this is the last trade I'm going to show you. It was the best one that I had on stream. And I'm going to walk you through this one phase by phase one last time. We've got the one candle, right? 15-minute candle, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, the New York Stock Exchange open. You can see there's the 15-minute candle. I've already marked the top. I've already marked the bottom. That was the second step, mark up the opening range. Then we set that time frame to 5 minutes, and we are waiting for the price to break out the top or the bottom to give us that trend direction. You can see we broke out the bottom right there. That candle closed. We're looking for sells. Next step, we're looking for support and resistance. All right, all we really have for support is this level right down there. And for resistance, we're really pretty much at about this level right here. So then those next steps, we want to analyze that range distance, and then we want to buy from support, sell from resistance. Let's look at those. Well, the range distance is on our side. Look, we're entering the trade around here. There's definitely more room to the downside than there is the upside, and we are at that resistance level right there, so we are selling from resistance. Phase 3, we want to take a look at our trend lines. We want to draw any trend lines. We want to wait for price to break the trend line, and we could potentially use that as an entry as well. So you can see I already drew my trend line right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches and a break. That's telling us we're going down. You can see I already drew my trend line right there. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches right there and a solid break. That's telling us we're going to the downside. Step 3, don't have an entry off of that trend line. That's fine. Phase 4, it's time for our entry. Let's pick the right discretionary entry. We don't have to check the broker spread for this example, and then we will set the limit order. So why did I take the entry that I did? Let's discuss it. There are many reasons for that perfect entry that I got right there. One, you can see the EMA is being respected right here. So I'm wanting to get an entry at the EMA. I also had the fair value gap right there getting filled, so I'm entering within the fair value gap. We also have a level of supply off of this green candle right there, so we stacked all those confluences together. And that last phase is managing the trade, setting that take profit 1 and stop loss, taking a partial profit, going break even, set and take profit 2. On this trade, what I would do here is I had my stop loss above these recent wicks. I felt that was pretty safe. I would take my take profit about here right now for TP1. Then I would let that trade play out further and further and further. And on stream, I let this thing go and go and go. And this thing went all the way down to a second take profit level, which was perfect, all the way down here. But this trade continued to go on and push further and further down over the hours to come. But this was the best trade on stream so far. If you really want to learn this scalping strategy, you've got to watch me do it on stream. There's a lot of discretion. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. If this helped you at all, please do those things. Consider joining my VIP trading room. The link to that is in the video description. I'll be back next week. Watch this video. Watch this video. Much love.